we go. Yeah, so essentially the idea is going to be to kind of bring you how speedrunner would go for learning this game, or how if you want to pick up this game, if you're interested, and perhaps you've seen runs from the very high level players and you get a bit confused, well, try to bring this down a little bit and yeah, still go fast, but explain on the way. And well, since we're getting started, Dr. Mario is essentially a game that was meant to be a competition for Tetris, since Tetris was not Nintendo owned. And in the end, it turned out that for the SNES, it came out in a combo game. You can see it on the here on the box that is Tetris and Dr. Mario. So in the end, it didn't matter, but it's Nintendo's answer. And it essentially consists on, we have viruses on the bottle. They have colors red, green, red, blue, and yellow. I know my colors. Don't worry. And we have pills, which actually are not called pills, but that's not important, which we're going to be using to clear those viruses. And essentially, it's just connect 4 or more of those colors. So just a little bit of the explanation here on the setup. We usually run SNES in medium because we have more control on the pills, and because Ook, of course, is as well part of that team, we're gonna be running it in chill. Do you agree, Ook?
Oh, absolutely. Team chill all the way, man.
Definitely. Let's do it in chill. So we're gonna be doing 0 to 20, and well, let's get started with this. So we'll get started in 3, 2, 1, and pills.
3, 2, 1 pills, of course, being the reference, what we call it whenever we're getting started in our tournaments. John's being a little bit of a nice guy and not talking about how he has been pretty much a founding member of the Dr. Mario Championship speed tournaments, and actually won last month, so I will toot his horn for him.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, as Ook says, we have tournaments for the NES version of this game. The mechanics are very similar. There's a few changes that we will be pointing out when they happen in the run. But essentially, the first thing that you want to do when you're speedrunning this, and that I haven't explained, is that, well, gravity, as you can see, just the dropping the pills, is very slow. So first, the speedrunning trick, press down on the controller. There we go. Okay, I can press down, and the pill will follow faster.
One of the things you'll notice is that John's running on medium. There's a little bit of a friendly rivalry in the community between the medium and high players, but in reality, medium doesn't give you a lot of disadvantages, and as long as you're pressing down, it gives you the positive of always being at the same speed. So a lot of players play on medium regardless, just because it's just as fast as long as you're pressing down.
Yep, and that's going to be the name of the game, pressing down as much as possible to avoid losing time just because gravity is slow. And also, we don't want to be losing time by letting the other halves of pills drop, because as you have seen, when we clear viruses, the other halves, if they are not supported by anything underneath, then they will fall down until they found something that supports them.
Yeah, and drop time typically kills about a quarter second per line that the pill drops. That can be really, really deadly if you're on a really good pace in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And when you're hunting the high times, or the low times rather, those quarter of seconds are just necessary to keep them as minimized as possible. So right now I haven't been doing like anything too crazy, really, just trying to manage my drop time as much as possible. Here with the last virus, I don't need to support the half pills because they don't fall as we're finishing the level.
All right, so what we're looking at now, well, with that first pill, you'll notice John tucked it underneath and is continuing to do so whenever the top line does not support the pill halves that he's getting. Sometimes the best place to put a pill is not somewhere on the top. So while he is going to be trying to maintain what we call a diverse top line, he is not going to be shying away from finding areas where he can play the pills underneath instead of just merely playing them all on top.
Yep, and for example here with this blue-yellow, the idea was, well, to use both sides of the pills as much as possible, first of all. And second, that only required for one half of the pill to drop one row, so minimizing drop time as well.
I'm a big fan of those tuck plays there, John.
Okay.
What he's creating here is just simply called garbage. Unfortunately, not every pill half can get used. And sometimes you can find creative ways for using that garbage. Go ahead, John. I think you're...
Yep. No, don't worry. I was just waiting for we to be able to see. There, I'm thinking both horizontally and vertically. That's going to be something that you're going to want to do. Not only play vertically, which I have been doing a lot, but horizontals are a good way of going fast as well.
Yeah, and you'll notice that yellow on 6 there, it's cleared up now. So while that looked like a misdrop on the red on column 8, it wasn't, because John had a plan for it. And one of the most affirming experiences you can have in Dr. Mario is watching a top level runner and realizing that you're understanding all of the things that they're seeing.
Well, since I am talking this, I actually forgot to split, so there we go. Now I have skipped all of the splits that I missed. There we go, we're back to normal.
So as John mentioned, we tend to run this game on the NES, mostly just because it's the most popular and most common version. One of the biggest differences between the NES version and the SNES version is that there were a lot of inconsistencies in the programming in the NES version. Its pill combinations are not the friendliest, and in reality, it's just gross sometimes. And the SNES fixed a lot of those problems, so you're going to see really favorable RNG from this game compared to what you're used to if you've only played the NES version.
Yeah, in other words, what Duke is saying is if you want to have a nice experience playing Dr. Mario, perhaps you should try first the SNES version. It's gonna be a lot nicer, it's going to give you more variety on the pills.
And as I'm sure John's going to showcase here in a little bit, it's also got the ability to give you very good movement. We don't do really any hyper tapping in this game. It's just not really become necessary, even for high level runners. But the DAS is much more, I guess it's just friendlier. It's easier to confirm, easier to make sure that you're on the DAS on this game, and it's just altogether friendlier for movement for the pills.
Yeah, definitely, and it's actually much easier to play this game with DAS. You don't need to tap as much. In NES, it's more. Oh, there we go. Sorry, interruption there because I did just what is called a swim, which is like standing up a pill and like chucking it in where it really doesn't look like it should go, but it's possible to put it there.
And swims are another thing that this game really makes easier. The ability to do those pill movements. You can do a lot of swims in the NES version. It's not always as easy as it is in the SNES version.
Yeah, and there is a big difference between NES and SNES regarding these swims. That the one that I performed there, it's possible as well on the NES, but doing it the other way around, so going to the right, it's not possible to stand up the pill the same way in those close quarters.
Answering some questions from the chat, the Game Boy version, yes, is very popular. Released, I believe, at the exact same time as the NES version. It is also quite popular and also very different from both of the other versions. And yes, the game does in fact have all the music settings that are in the original. They are slightly remixed, and the off in this version features a wonderful echo sound to it that I particularly enjoy.
Yeah, it's. I think they did a good job at remixing these songs. Some people like them better than others, but yeah, in all, it's a great job there from Nintendo regarding uh, giving this new life in spite of it being essentially the same game.
And I want to talk about that sweet tea that John just made, unless you're going to swim. Okay.
I know.
So you might have noticed that he took out took out 2 viruses, 3 viruses using only 5 pill halves. That is possible to do with a move that we lovingly call the sweet tea. And those are really one of the most efficient clears you can make. And efficiency is the name of the game in Dr. Mario. So they will come in a lot of different flavors, but that sweet tea was a bit of an L clear, and I hope you guys saw it because it was really cool.
Yeah, and that, well, more so since we are NES players, we tend to look out for those efficient plays because we are more prone to RNG just doing whatever it wants to do. So, yeah, that's part of what we're gonna be looking for. But in NES, it's exactly the same game, and just that's going to be efficient as well.
Yeah, the RNG, like we said, is much friendlier in this game. You get double pills a lot more often, and that's just something that Nintendo, I think, was really looking out for whenever they remade the game. And SNES players will spare no expense to taunt those of us who play NES, specifically because of how that's going to go. All right, so what John's looking for on column 5 is a yellow pill half. He's going to get it right here. You'll see it makes a sweet tea, and he's already prepped, so he's dropping down all of these extra fragments, making extra clears, and just really cutting down on the amount of time that it's going to take for him to finish up.
Yep, just trying to plan down farther than just the top line. Another thing that if you want to speedrun this, you will learn because that's the way to go fast. So
Nice lightning rod there. Yet another term that we've come up with for clearing, in that case, several pills or several viruses vertically, and that it looks nice and it clears efficiently. And I mean, what else can you ask for in a game?
yeah, definitely, it's swag plus efficiency. That's speedrunning in a nutshell. Okay, we're starting to not get too much variety here. I need blue.
It's a very blue top line. So what John's going to do is find places to put every other color that will clear it out without causing too much garbage. You see now that it has worked out. So with the exception of red, which he's got almost none of available, he is going to have he's trying to make it to where he's got a place for practically every color that he can get. And again, that's the sort of thing we look for in a high-level player.
Yeah, definitely. And here I was also trying to make space for that yellow bit of garbage, so it wouldn't just keep me from working on the right side, on the left side of the board. I mean.
Yeah, I'm really curious what you're going to do here.
Yeah, I'm
one
also
of the
curious.
Yeah, one of the things about this game, no two boards are well. It's very rare to get the same board twice. So while you can with
Oh,
A lot of the games that are being showcased during this marathon are platformers and things where you can kind of plan ahead. In this game, we don't know from one round to the next what's really going to happen, and that's part of the excitement.
yep. That's it's essentially a game where we just have to adapt to whatever board we get. More so because here in the SNES version, it's not super straightforward what the randomness is going to be. It actually shifts in between levels. So even if we could make sure of which is the first level we get, then after that it's pretty random. So not even two runs will be alike, if at all.
All right, John's going to eat that piece of yellow garbage there just because it gave him a nice sweet tea, and it's efficient. It's still an efficient play. Taking care of one bit of garbage is usually worth it when you've got a nice efficiency play going on.
Yeah, and like Cook has said, sometimes we can even carry that piece of garbage lower. In this case, it's not going to be possible because the only yellow virus is on the very last row of the bottle, or the very first one, however you want to see it. But yeah, that one isn't going to be worth it. But sometimes, and perhaps in the next levels, if the game actually allows me to, I will be carrying some garbage downwards.
One thing when you're seeing, I hesitate to say pro level players because we're, it's not like there's a pro league or anything, but when you see top level players playing this game, you can't always assume that you know what they're thinking. The really, really good players come up with some really interesting strategies and can tend to surprise you. What looks like a piece of garbage may turn out to be just exactly what they needed, and it's just a layer down. It's always a bit of a surprise whenever you see somebody who is just next level with this game, and it's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, definitely. It's always super interesting to see how other players are thinking about something. That would have been bad if I had done that double blue there. So that also goes to show that we have to be thinking about the garbage that we put in places, because that can break stuff.
Yeah, it's not too hard to see this game run off its own rails, just with far too much garbage. You'll end up spending a lot of time just clearing off your garbage instead of clearing off your board, and that slows you down.
Yep, and I want this horizontal, so I'm gonna risk it because why not?
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's a nice horizontal. We'll see if the doctor gives you what you need, and there it is. So that's cleared off a lot of the garbage and looking very nice.
Yeah, yeah, let's do it like this.
I was wondering if that's what you were going to do. Excellent
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. And you are seeing exactly what I'm thinking of, and that's always a good sign that I'm doing things a little bit right.
Yeah, this is a great armchair game, but it gets a lot harder when you're actually playing it yourself. But I will say something that I know you've said before, and that is that this game is not that much fun unless you're adding something like a speed element to it. I remember playing it as a kid, and I remember just shelving the game because I didn't think that much of it. But once it became something that I started speedrunning, it takes on a whole new level. And really, this game was designed for speed, and it's one of the best ways to play it, unless you're playing versus. And I know there's a lot of great versus players out there who really love that as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. The versus scene is also it has its own strats as well, because there you want to do combos with pills, with viruses, with everything. It's not so much about going fast, but rather about slowing down your opponent. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with what Ook says there. It's a bit of a hot take, but it's fine. It's I've called it rather a boring game just to play as casually, but once you introduce some speed into it, the game just gains new life. So that's why we speedrun it, basically, because it's much more fun to do it that way.
All right, so I'm just looking out for combos for you so I can start calling it, because we're getting to the point where it's a lot harder to actually commentate on your own game while you're playing it. And I want John to be able to really put his focus on doing speed. But I mean, there's a lot of just straightforward stuff going on right here.
Yeah, sometimes that's going to be what's gonna happen.
It just means the board is happy with you, and I'm here for that.
Yeah, definitely. It's because things are going smoothly if we're getting the colors to continue clearing stuff everywhere.
Right, so I'm wondering. Now you've put a second piece of garbage down, so I'm assuming you're not going to try to desandwich those yellows there. Desandwich, we like a lot of food terms in the Dr. Mario community. A desandwich is removing a piece that is blocking you from being able to clear out a double. In this case, it was horizontal, so it was a little bit harder to see. But you know, John had a couple of yellows and would have been able. Oh, that's a great drop. That's going to set you up for a wonderful end game. John had a couple of doubles that were separated off with a little bit of garbage, and if he'd cleared that out, that would have been a great desandwich. And it wasn't the easiest play to make, and thankfully he didn't have to choose the easiest thing.
Yeah, definitely. I actually didn't fully see it. I have an idea of where it was, but sometimes also that's going to be a thing. It's easier to see those plays when half of your brain is not trying to think where to land the pill that you're moving currently.
Yeah, it's fun of listening to commentary of your own games. You don't see the stuff until afterwards. All right, so I love this move here. It drops down that yellow, those reds, and just clears that red out. Very efficient pills, and that's, again, this is the name of the game. We're trying to reduce the number of pills that we're using, while also reducing drop times. And sometimes those two do not go well together.
No, they don't. So we have to figure out ways to kind of make them go together sometimes. This last part of the board, not too conducive to. I should have actually gotten it here. Sorry. Notice it too late. Yeah, let's set up for the horizontal drop.
I see it. There you go.
Okay, and all of these leftover viruses, they want to go horizontally, so let's do it.
And this is a lower level, but we do call those scaffoldings, and being able to build up to where you can hit those horizontals or reduce your drop time, that's an essential part of the early levels especially, but sometimes we do see it at the end game in some of these later levels.
Yeah, and for that scaffolding to work, sometimes you have to be willing to... Well, it feels like you're misusing a pill because you're setting it up for just a base, but really it's going to be better in the long run, so you do it. No. I was trying to do some silly horizontals on the right side earlier, but they're not worth it, so...
Yeah, and I think there's going to be some drop time going on here, or some extra garbage going on here. That's just kind of the name of the game, but John's really good at finding ways to clear out garbage. And now with these setups, this is going to be great. Again, the horizontals come down, and you see just everything that was needed on top of it is cleared out. That is something that takes a little bit of time to learn, but once you start seeing it, it's so much fun to see.
Yeah, it's kind of like well, the earlier one, which was Tetris Attack. It's mostly about seeing the patterns. Once you start seeing them, then they're going to be most evident for you. I'm sure that on the other side of the screen, it's not super apparent, but yeah, it's just practice essentially.
And I've compared Dr. Mario to chess before, just because at high levels, chess players don't see the pieces that are on the board as a brand new game and analyze every piece that they're looking at. What they see are the patterns that they've seen 1,000 times before. They've seen in the practices. They've seen in reviewing their opponents. Dr. Mario is a lot like that in that our players they see patterns. Uh, they see different layouts of the pills and have thought through different methods of clearing them and found what they hope to be the most efficient ways. And it's again very strange comparison, but they do work a lot alike.
Yeah, it's yeah, essentially that patterns, patterns, patterns. So every puzzle game is basically that. So it's not crazy to see that this repeats over here.
All right. So each level goes up by 4 viruses. We started with 4 viruses in the first pill bottle at level 0. Now we are up in the 60s. By the end of the game, we will be at 84. That is the level 20 virus total, and that is going to be actually not the most that they get in this particular version of the game, but it's a lot of viruses, and it gets really high up in the bottle and gets really scary right towards the end. Thankfully, we're not quite there yet.
No, we're not there, but if you're starting to get scared a little bit there with what I was doing at the beginning, well, it gets a bit more critical, but hopefully there will be no mistakes and things will be going fine and dandy. But we never know. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, so we're looking at a few plays that I think are competing with each other, but John's going to find a way to knock them out. The 2 reds over on the right-hand side weren't quite helpful with the T that he was hoping to work out, but now he's got the opportunity, if he really wants it, to clear these blues out horizontally if he gets a double blue. But that is going to leave some garbage, so we'll see how.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
Let's see what it's going to look like. Yeah. So it's just a simple garbage clear. The doctor gave him the pills he needed, and now he's setting up for this blue horizontally, committed to that. And the yellow on the left is a little bit isolated with this double blue, and followed by a double yellow. Can't buy this kind of RNG. Is going to get him cleared out.
You don't see this kind of RNG in the other version. This is
No,
this
you
will let you or get you bailed out more often than not.
All right, so now anything with a red would be nice, but there, that red-blue is exactly what John was looking for on the right-hand side. And as you can see, level 17, this is where it really starts to get up on the top. You probably can't hear it over us talking, but there is a tone that comes about every 10 viruses, I believe, that, or every 10 pills that speeds up the drop time. You will hit a certain point in this game where you can no longer make, without Herculean effort, you can no longer make the pills go all the way to the edge of the board. That's one of the few cases where a hyper tapper might find an advantage, but really you just find ways to get over there anyway. So we'll see if that makes a difference in this run. Yeah, I've seen runs where it doesn't make a difference at all. But we'll see what John faces as we get up into these levels where the pills are being set up at the highest level that the NES and SNES versions allow. Not the Game Boy version, though. That one goes really high.
The other one is insane. So here, this red, for example, is going to be one of those sandwiches that Ook was talking about earlier, because this way I
You lightning
compare
bolt, John?
this.
Oh. Sorry, I thought you were going to give me a lightning bolt there.
Oh no, sorry.
It's okay. It's just a lot of fun to commentate.
I know.
John and I do both commentate with competitive Dr. Mario, and those fun pill clears are just our bread and butter. That's what makes the whole broadcast a lot of fun. So, all right, so that is a fun play that he's done on the left there. That double red on top looks like it's garbage, but if you see, he's going to drop the blue, and that's going to take those reds out because he knew he had a spot underneath. Everything worked out. Nice, clear end game. Bob's your uncle. Let's go on to 18.
Yeah, and
Again,
if I'm going a bit
gonna
quiet. Oh, sorry. If I'm going a bit quiet, it's just that I'm focusing with the starts.
Yeah, I was going to say things are going to get a little bit hairy at the top of this board, so John's probably going to go quiet. That's actually what I was thinking. A lot of the times, horizontals are your best friend at the tops of these really late boards. Things can get kind of scary, and again, though, it's so much nicer on this version. There's really no reason not to play this if you're new to the game. Go ahead and try out the SNES version. It's a lot nicer. Or you can not do that. Whatever. We're not going to tell you how to game. But John is out of the danger zone. Everything now, he's got plenty of room to play with, and making some interesting choices here. But they are going to result in some good clears with minimal garbage, and that's what we want to see.
Okay, let's take it like this. It never gave me the blue-red, or at least I didn't see it on time, so...
And yes, JohnNash4th is the mathematician in A Beautiful Mind. This is JohnNash4th, though.
Actually, that one is the second, but...
That's the second. Okay, well, there you go. See, I'm not a mathematician. John actually is, so he would know these things. I don't claim to be a mathematician.
Okay, come on, game. I need lots of yellow. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a yellow locked board, we would say, where pretty much everything that he wants to do is dependent on getting some yellow pieces. And now that he's cleared those reds out, almost everything he wants to do is in fact blocked by yellow pieces. Not really conducive to a good run or a good time. Did manage to get that horizontal out of the way. And pretty soon going to be free and clear. Would love, I know, to get those red and blues going on horizontally, but unfortunately the stack of garbage in the middle is just too high, so he's going to be forced to take those vertically.
Oh.
As we like to call it, the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, fortunately, didn't prepare too well for that with all the yellows, and usually those corners will get you.
All right, so the real strategy at these later levels, John, good grief, is to clear out your middle first, and then go immediately into your corners, because as we said earlier, those are the hardest areas to reach. This was actually a really, really nice clearance for the top of the board. You can see now he's free and clear on the top, except for that, which is now cleared out. And again, in the safety zone here, this is where you want to be at this point in the level. And John is thinking about some horizontals, and I can't say I blame him. Yeah. This is going to require a double blue or just eating it. And naturally, Dr. Mario gives you the double blue immediately
Yeah, there it is.
decide to just give up on a strategy. That's the way it always goes. Murphy's Law is central to this game, but that was a nice double horizontal clear, or as we like to call them, a fat log. One of the more fun, colorful names that we've come up with for a specialty clear in this community.
I don't want to clear that, but fine. The doctor forced me.
Yeah, so sometimes what you're looking for and what you get are different things. Creativity is just paramount to good play in Dr. Mario. You have to come up with new ways of doing things, and sometimes it's really, really weird, and sometimes it's hard to see. But John is showing that he knows what he's doing.
Sometimes.
I'd say more than sometimes, my friend. And this clear proves it. There we go. Very nice. Hoping to see. I know he's hoping to get a double yellow on this left side, but I don't think the doctor. Okay, there's the doctor giving that, and now he just needs another double yellow. And the doctor gives it.
There it is.
Yay!
Let's go.
To drop that red stack down. Because the red stack was right on top of a pill that had a red virus underneath of it, the goal is always going to be to find an easy way to clear that out. In NES Dr. Mario, we're not waiting around for that double pill. It's just not going to come. But as you can see in SNES, sometimes you ask and the doctor gives.
Yeah, it's
Oh, so many doubles.
Yeah. We never see those in the other game.
Well, we see plenty of doubles. It's just always the same one over and over and over again. All right, so this is a very yellow heavy top line, which is going to be a touch dangerous. There's not a lot of place for reds here, so John's going to be very careful. He's going to use a glitch. I don't know if you want to call it a glitch, where if you hold a pill half up into the very top of the board, it will disappear. There you go. You see him doing that again. Call it a glitch. I call it a feature. It keeps you from topping out, and that's really what we want to see. As John takes out the last pill that could have given, or the last virus that could have given him trouble, and he is now going to be free and clear to the end of this run. Pulling out some really interesting swims to try to get everything just gone out and taken care of here.
Yeah, there wasn't much to do with that. So being a little bit inefficient sometimes, but keeping things safe mainly.
Yeah, and Dr. Mario has a little bit of a hostage situation. Things are never going to go exactly as they're planned. You're going to have to think on your feet and find ways to be creative with it, and everybody gets out safely that way. It can be a very punishing game, but in the end, when things go your way it is just so much fun.
Yeah, that's mainly why we speedrun this.
Oh, John, that's beautiful. Beautiful clear. Nice combo. So, we're not going to end up showcasing anything past level 20. 0 to 20 is the run for this one. The NES version repeats level 24 once you get there. The SNES actually continues on. We've talked with ACLM about how far it goes. I want to say it hits 256 and just repeats there because it's literally hit the end of its memory. But I have never gotten quite that far. I know I've gotten up into level 40 before. That's one of the interesting things about this particular game. But time is going to go when John hits the last virus. There it
Oh,
is. Nice. 38 minutes
38
on the
minutes
dot.
flat. There we go. That was the estimate. That's what I got in spite of everything, of talking, which slows me down, of course. But that's great. All right, yeah. So, I mean, for putting, I think I kind of computed a rough estimate about 2,000 peels, something like that, throughout the course of the game. That didn't go too bad.
Oh, I thought it was a great run there, John.
Thank you very much. And yeah, so as we've been just saying, just a quick the quick announcement to go. Yeah, we have the community. There is a Discord for the Dr. Mario Championship where, well, we'll not only play the NES version, but we play sometimes also the SNES. There's actually plans for doing a tournament perhaps in the following months of this version. So if you like this version rather and you want to play in the tournament speed running this version, then it's the perfect time for you to learn it if you haven't, or to go into the Discord. I will be putting the link in my page as well, but you can DM any one of us, and yeah, we'll be gladly sending you in the right way. Other than that, well, thank you so much, Yuk, for your commentary. Always a pleasure to have you, well, by my side, cheering me and all of that good stuff. I mean, we've been doing this forever, so yeah, it's always nice to have you here, and as well to the all of the community. Really, there's a lot of people, and they're all so nice. And I'm sure that if I try to go one by one, I'm gonna miss someone. So everyone, just the particular holla there to Phoenix, because she was basically the one that got me into speedrunning this. I did play this game as a kid as well, as many of the players in the community, but she was essentially the one that pointed me towards the speedrunning tournaments, also towards the versus community, which basically has now congealed into one. And yeah, without her, essentially, I wouldn't have picked up this game to run it, and wouldn't have been here. So yeah, but everyone, essentially, thank you very much for coming here as well. Thank you to the organizers for allowing me to bring the run, and Ook to commentate along with me. Yeah, it's been so much fun. It's the first time I've been in a marathon, so I'm very thankful for the opportunity. And I think that's about it from us. Anything I'm missing, Ook?
Oh, sounds good to me. GG's,
Okay.
man.
Oh yeah, and don't forget to follow Ook in his channel, Ook the Librarian. And yeah, I mean, I also do some of these runs. So if you want to watch this happening, I'm gonna be pursuing PBs. Yeah, you can go into my channel as well. And yeah, that's going to be it from me. Continue watching the marathon. There's going to be another Dr. Mario run later in the week, so you don't want to miss that either if you enjoy this. And that's going to be it from us. So thanks so much, and we'll see you around.